Hi everyone, good evening and welcome to the Sugar and Crumbs kitchen. Well, we've got a new guest in tonight, Imogen from Sugar Buttons Creative. She's come all the way from Norfolk.
Yeah.
And we always give our ladies or whoever's come to demonstrate to stay the night, but she's done a 6-hour trip here. She's done a preparation this afternoon and she's going to do a 6-hour trip back. So make sure you give her lots of love hearts, loads of thumbs up. Please pop over to her page later on tonight. Get those thumbs on there. Let her know that you've been very grateful for her coming along to see you. She's actually going to show you how to buttercream a cake this evening and to properly crumb coat it and fill it and all the things that we should do properly. But best of all, she's going to tell you about this gadget.
Yep.
Aren't you?
I am indeed.
So, just in case you did wonder who Imogen was, it was this lady here. So, she's going to tell you about this gadget. I'm going to hand her over to you with it in a minute. But this is the Universal Mixer Guard, okay? She designed this and developed herself. I can't wait for her to show you. You do buy it direct from Imogen. It's definitely worth the investment, okay? So I have to say, I've got KitchenAid. I've not found anything yet that works properly. Imogen sent me one of these ages ago. I have used it. I've not shown you guys it yet because I knew she was coming on to do the live, and I thought I will let her show you everything. Okay, so make sure you get those thumbs up, support her, pop over to her page. What's it? Sugar Buttons Creative.
Sugar Buttons Cakes, the actual Facebook.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's your website, isn't it?
Yeah, I changed the name afterwards, which is foolish.
So it's Sugar Buttons Cakes for Facebook, and her website is Sugar Buttons Creative, but I have put the link on the top of our page. So I will be over here muttering away as I usually am, and I'm going to hand you over to Imogen. She said she's not nervous. We'll see how it goes.
I'm not too nervous.
There we go. Oh, and as per usual, we've got Laura and Maria in the kitchen. Hi, girls.
Hi.
And we also have Imogen's friend in the kitchen. Natalie. She's here. She's doing all Imogen's social media tonight. So if any of you are on Twitter or Instagram, you might see a few things pop up too. All right then, good. I'll hand it over to you.
Lovely. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I thought what I'd do is I'll explain to you a little bit about how I came up with my mixer guard. I've basically been baking as a professional, I've been baking all my life, but as a professional business 6.5 years. And my favourite thing that I own in terms of kitchenware is my mixer, my KitchenAid mixer. I've always wanted one all my life. And I love it, except when I put icing sugar in, even if you put it on the slowest little setting, it always puffs up and goes everywhere. And it does come with a little plastic mixer guard, which is utterly useless and does nothing.
I have to agree with you.
It's so annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so the only way I used to be able to do it is put a tea towel over it, but even a tea towel, it goes everywhere. And so I used to sort of sit there hugging my mixer with icing sugar going into it, hugging a mixer. So I thought, oh, there must be something out there. So I did loads of research and Googled it a lot. And found there wasn't anything, so I just thought I'd make something. And it was once I'd made it, I then thought, oh, actually, it's not just me, Mary Berry, it's everyone on the Great British Bake Off. They all have the same
problem.
issues.
Yeah.
So if maybe I could look into making it. So a friend of mine's a product designer, and he has a factory in Hong Kong, and so we went back and forth refining things. So my original design, they laughed at and said it looked like a pair of frilly pink pants. You loved it actually because it was sugar and crumbs pink. But they refined it and put things like rubbery stitching on and made it look all lovely. So it's a bit more professional than my first little prototype I made. So yeah, and now I've got them, and that's what I use at home. And I use loads of them. I have several of them on the go at once, and I just rotate them. So what I thought I'd do is show you how it actually works. So I've got my mixer here and kind of doing it towards you. Normally I do it hugging it towards myself. Basically, you'll get used to where you need to line it up, but I know where I need my little popper to be at the front of this. So it has rubbery stitching around the edges, which means it grips to this bit here rather than just elastic. And once you've got it on, you can kind of sort of move it till it's in the right position, because often I put it on and then realise I need to move it, even though I've been using mine for years. So you then just roll it down, and the good thing about it is the reason it sort of made me think about doing it was when I was teaching hen parties or classes, I'd be making copious amounts of buttercream and constantly having to go back and forth. So I can keep the same mixer guard on, do a batch, put it into icing bags, and then make another batch, and it just stays on there until you want to finish. So when you get your mixer, which has its blade on already, you can either put your bowl straight onto there and then add your ingredients, or you could add your ingredients here. I'll do it like I do at home because I usually add it while I'm working. So often when you're making buttercream, especially in a small bowl like this, you kind of almost want to start off with a small amount at a time. And the whole point of mine is that you don't, you just chuck it all in really quickly and you don't have to worry about mess. There'll be a bit of a mess when the icing sugar comes out, but not too much. So my buttercream recipe is super easy. So basically it's exactly half the amount of icing sugar, of butter to icing sugar. So because we're doing a couple of cakes today, I'll do 2 lumps of butter, which we've just softened because it's getting a bit chilly. So yeah, 2 blocks of butter, so 500 grams of butter, and then a kilo of icing sugar. And normally, this is the worst bit when you tip it in and you get the powder, the dust from the icing sugar, but it's not too bad.
Well, we've got a fantastic audience. There's over 200 people watching you.
Oh, exciting! Yeah. This smells incredible. This is the Sugar and Crumbs mulled wine.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It smells like Christmas. It's so lovely. And if I wasn't going home, really I might have had some mulled wine. That would be nice. Yeah, so literally I've got a kilo of icing sugar going in here, which again, you'd kind of think it was probably going to go absolutely everywhere. And it would if you didn't have a lid on it.
It smells good.
Oh, it does. It smells like so much like Christmas. Put the lid down. Then I just pull this little elastic toggle which holds it in place.
Do you want to turn that to the camera?
Do you want me to turn the mixer around? And I stretch over the little strap and it's just secured with a button. Just make sure that it's definitely all round, which it is, and then you can start it up. I do start it off slightly slowly to start with because I have got a lot of mixture in here. Just to start it off, yeah.
It's so good though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody told me to use a shower cap, so I bought a shower cap.
Yeah, it doesn't work, does it?
No.
My first prototype was a shower cap.
Yeah. It all got twisted up and chewed up in the neck.
Yeah.
And then I've used wet tea towels that just drive me mad, but that's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's better than a dry tea towel, definitely.
Yeah. And even then it still comes out the side, and a dry tea towel is pointless.
Yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't matter how hard you hug it, it escapes.
Yeah, exactly. And I've heard people say they use cling film, but I would really worry that the cling film might get caught in it.
Well, I think that would be the same as the shower cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I did. I thought I could I could use a shower cap for my prototype, and it didn't work. I thought I could cut it up and make something.
Look at Laura. I'll ask you the questions. You look at
I've
Laura.
seen so many people do this and think I really should. I must remember to look in the right place.
It's our trick in the kitchen.
I need some picture of Laura's
I'll ask
face.
the questions. You look at Laura.
Just a little cut out. Right, so basically, I'm gonna. You can hear that it's starting to get quite thick, so I can turn it up. In the summer, when my butter's really warm and very soft, I literally put it in and whack it up really high right to start with, which it ordinarily would go absolutely everywhere. So that's great. Depending on how cold this is,
we're nearly 250. That's great audience. I've got somebody asking, will it work on a Kenwood chef?
Yeah, on a Kenwood chef. Does it look? It's like a Kenwood version of this.
I think
so. I've got a Kenwood.
It can be a bit square at the Kenwood chef though. At the top,
Yeah, it does fit them. When I first made it, I went into John Lewis and I was going to ask them if I could try it on their different mixes, but there was no one around to ask. So I just secretly went round and tried it. So I know that it fits on the Kenwood K-Mix, it fits on the Heston Blumenthal.
So you're on John Lewis's radar now, some strange woman with a
crazy woman with her weird shower cap thing. Yeah, so it fits on the Heston Blumenthal one, the Smeg one, and the Smeg one's quite big compared to this. It's got like a much deeper thing. I think the Heston Blumenthal one's called Sage, so anything that's this sort of shape is fine. The only thing it doesn't fit onto is the big industrial version of it.
Yeah. So Smeg mixers and Andrew James, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely.
But to be fair, it's those ones with that loose top, isn't it? Because a lot of the big companies have their...
they sometimes have a plastic.
They have a really good one, don't they?
But I've got quite a few clients who bought them for their Kenwoods, even though the Kenwood comes with a plastic one, but they prefer this one because they can just roll it down and put it back up again. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. So the other thing is when you're using it, you can kind of pull it open, have a little look.
Oh,
obviously, I put an awful lot of icing sugar in here, so it is kind of tipping up at the top there. But basically, you just roll it down when you need to add different things. So at home, I've got
to be honest, when I used it, I never thought about doing that.
Yeah. It's because I
just mixed everything. Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so you can see like the icing's all kind of almost mixed. I'll scrape a little bit down from the sides. Smells incredible. Where should I put the little spatula?
What was that conversation we had before? Imogen and I were joking out. It doesn't matter how much you put everything to hand, you can't find it. And she was saying how she watched other demonstrators can't find it, and I said it's going to happen to you tonight.
It's going to be
You're
in
going to
front
put
of
stuff
me,
down,
isn't
it's going to be right in front of her, and that's when she said, "Where did you put that spatula?"
I've got all my stuff laid out, and I know I'm still going to take me a while to find bits. Yeah, so just scrape down the outside, because often even with a beta blade, it's got like a little flexi bit on it. This one has. Still get it sort of sticking to the sides. Top mixer in place. So that's that. Then, once you've sort of scraped off your mixture, we might need to make a little bit more buttercream later. So I'm just going to leave the beta blade on here, and I can always add extra bits to it if I need to. But the good thing is the mixer guard stays on the bowl, and you don't have to go to the effort of taking it all off and stuff. So,
and is it washable?
It is washable. It's washable. Which way am I turning this?
I know the mixer's sliding all over the
Yeah.
place today, isn't it?
That's it. I didn't want to push it across the careering across your kitchen. So it's washable. It's supposed to be hand wash because of the rubber
Maria having
stitching.
sneaky buttercream.
Did it?
Is that mixed under the way, you know, Laura? Are you okay?
No, I'll just drop the top down, that's all.
Yeah, there we go. So lovely light buttercream. It's washable by hand, basically. That's what the label's saying and everything. However, and I'm not supposed to do this, I think it's because the rubbery stitching, you have to be careful. But because I have so many on the go, I use it all the time. I just chuck them in the washing machine.
I probably just wouldn't put it in the dryer.
Yeah, exactly. I just put it on 30 degrees and they're always fine. I've got loads on the go at the moment. So what we're going to do with this buttercream is make a couple of just buttercream cakes, and then I'll show you how to do like a watercolor drip cake effect.
Super.
So I've got one in the fridge that's sort of partially done, so we can have a bit of a production line back and forth.
We've got cake after Maria. Maria's off her ban. Are you off your ban, Maria, from cake? You've survived one week?
You weren't having sugar.
And I have to do it this week as well.
Oh,
Only
do you?
weekends. I'm crying in my house.
Don't worry, Laura and I help out.
Right, so on my turntable here I've got a little non-stick mat, which is essential, and then my little cake board, and these cakes I just baked yesterday, just a vanilla sponge, and I just this morning before I left the wilds of Norfolk I just trimmed the tops off so they're all smooth already.
Well, we're well over 250. Got a lovely audience here. So thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure you do give those thumbs up and love hearts for Imogen. First time she's been in the Sugar and Crumbs kitchen. It's very nerve-wracking, you know. So she is going to show you how to make a watercolour cake using buttercream. And she is also showing you how to use her invention of a universal mixer guard. That does smell good, that, doesn't it?
It does.
And the flavour of choice today is mulled wine.
Yeah, sticking with the festive theme.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to do two different decoration schemes. So one of them will be kind of traditional with cinnamon sticks and orange slices, and the other one will all be pink, pretty, and lovely meringues and shiny things. So,
and you're going to show them how to crystallise their fruits as well.
Yeah, we're going to do some caramelised orange slices, which would be nice.
Fantastic.
That looks lovely.
I love your sponges. Your sponges are lovely, aren't they?
These are, quite a lot of people ask me about what's my sponge recipe and how do I get it so nice. It's kind of weird. It's the recipe that I've used since I was a child. I always used to make the family cakes, and it is literally just equal quantities.
How deep have you got that? What is that, a 6-inch or a 7-inch tin?
The diameter is 6-inch, and the depth.
What size cake mix have you put in then?
For three layers, I use 5 eggs. So whatever 5 eggs were.
10 ounces.
Yeah. So what I'll end up doing is I have like a little calculation for when I'm making wedding cakes, and I can't fit every single cake in the oven or my 2 ovens. I work out exactly how many eggs I need for each layer of different sizes. So I basically just go to my little list and write, okay, if I need to do an 8, a 10 and a 6, I need to know this many eggs, and then I'll just weigh all the eggs and then portion the batter out as I go along, which works. It works really well for me because I'm always doing things, different sized cakes all the time, so it's the easiest way I find to work it out.
The lonely Grant said, Maria, stop licking your fingers.
You got caught on the camera.
And there's been loads of love hearts and likes for you, Imogen, so loads of support here. Lots of people, we're up to nearly 270 now, so you've got lots of support here. People are very interested on how to crumb coat a cake and fill it properly. It's one of the things that I have to tell you, even I can't do properly. I do rustic all the time, I'm sure you've heard me.
I'm just going to do, ordinarily I would often put this layer in the fridge and leave it just for a little bit. Yeah, good point. Yeah. I might need to splosh a little bit of hot water in this because it might be a little bit too chilly to be doing this crumb coat, because what you want it to do is just do that way.
Perfect.
Yeah.
To me. Yeah.
It's okay.
Basically,
sorry, I was doing
that's
that
all right.
way.
Yes, no, you're over to me now. Basically, you have to become a contortionist now, and you now have to go against what you normally do, and that's do it. So you've got to do it so you're facing this camera.
Right,
so
okay.
see that little circle there? Those are the people who are watching you there.
Lovely. As I go round, I'll see the bits I've missed,
that
so
one
that's
as well.
fine.
Right, okay.
Flicking between.
All right. So Laura's on superb camera skills. She's got plenty of cameras in the kitchen today.
It's very impressive, the multiple cameras.
So the mixer guard you can actually buy direct off Imogen's website. I have put the link on the top of the page. I'll post it again later. Okay. So you can go direct to her, pay for it there. And how soon do you send them out?
Well, if I get the order, I usually send it the next day.
Right. And is that on a next day delivery? Or?
It's first class Royal Mail, so it's supposed to be next day, whether that ever, materialises. It usually does though.
Yeah, good.
Apparently we're quite quiet tonight, so we might have to speak up, although we're still using the same microphone, the same setup and everything.
Are we plugged in?
Yeah, we are, 100%.
Can they hear me?
Probably.
Yes. That means it's you. They know I've got a big gob.
Do you know what? I sometimes find it though. I can be watching the lives and I can see all these people saying, "Speak up, I can't hear," and I think I can hear really loudly.
Yeah, maybe
So
turn the volume up on your devices.
Yeah, I mean, I do have mine on.
Yeah.
I just have it on super
And
loud
to be
anyway.
fair, I made that mistake. We're up to 284. So I made that mistake. I couldn't hear somebody the other week, and I realised that I'd left I turned my volume down a lot, and I realised it was still turned down.
So what I've done basically is this is a crumb coat for anyone who doesn't know. All it does is it does exactly that. It sticks the crumbs to the cake, so when you come to do your lovely layer, you're not getting all bits of crumbs and stuff in it. And also, even if you're making a semi-naked cake, which is the one where you can see bits of the cake coming through, you still want to do a crumb coat, so it just looks really, really neat. So I'm going to stick this one in the fridge.
That's good, doesn't it?
This is my rustic bit. I'm going to swap it over for the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got quite a few people saying it's loud and clear, everything's okay in terms of the volume. So, yeah, just double check your devices, but, I think we're all right here in terms of our setup and our volume.
So everybody who's joined us in the Sugar and Crumbs kitchen tonight, thank you for joining us. This is Imogen from Sugar Buttons Cakes. If you're on Facebook, if you want to go to her website, it's Sugar Buttons Creative. She's here tonight to show you how to crumb coat a cake, also to colour it in watercolours, decorate it nicely, and to show you how to use a universal mixer guard. The kitchen smells fantastic. She's leaving all this lovely cake for us as well, so we're very excited. Make sure you do give her the thumbs up and like. She's a fabulous audience. We're up to 310 people now, so that's great. For newbies, if you're a newbie, do let us know that you are a newbie. Just let us know where you are in the world and watching. And just to let you know that we are in the kitchen. We're not selling any cakes here tonight. Everything here is for Laura, myself and Maria, and anybody else who wants to scoff it. So if you do see us touch our face, our hair or anything like that, do not worry. We are absolutely fine with that.
Yeah, so I'm giving this one's been in the fridge since I got here, just to give me a little bit of a...
How long would you leave it in the fridge normally then?
Well, what you shouldn't really do, and again, it's only for you guys, well, that one's going to taste better than this one.
Only for those guys and the 300 people watching.
Yeah, no, in terms of edibleness.
Right.
You're not supposed to leave a cake with just the sponge, not wrapped in anything, in the fridge really, because it kind of dries it out. Well, this one feels really nice and moist actually. It was wrapped obviously before I got here. So once it's covered in buttercream, you can leave it in there. You could even leave it in there overnight. As long as you've covered it, what you don't want is just to leave out a cake, because it just dries it out. So I'm literally just slapping this on roughly, and then I will use the scrapers to smooth it off. And I always just work around the sides to start with. I don't really worry too much about the top. I'll add that in a minute. I've got two versions basically today. So the one that I've just put in the fridge, I'm using as, that's going to be a slightly semi-naked version of the cake. So it's where you've got the buttercream, it's nice and crisp, but you can see a little bit of the cake coming through. It's very fashionable in weddings. Although I'd say my specialty in cakes is painting onto cakes and doing really arty stuff, the cakes that I spend my entire summer and every bit doing are semi-naked cakes. They are the thing at the moment that everyone wants. So I don't get to do my favourite painting all that often, but apart from for myself. So yeah, so this one's going to be a buttercream cake, which means it's going to be completely covered, and the other one's going to be semi-naked, just so I thought I'd give you a couple of different options. And the difference between it is often people, in order to get a thick layer of buttercream, or exactly the same for ganache, is they would trim the cake so that you've got a little bit of space around the edge of your board to scrape up against, which you can do. I prefer not to have to trim too much of my cakes, because I always have to trim the tops anyway. So what I prefer to do is use a ganache plate, so a little acrylic disc, and I think it's 1/4 of an inch bigger all the way round in diameter. So what that does is when I put my scraper up against the side, against my acrylic thing, can you see that there?
Yeah,
does that make sense? You can see the gap, so the gap that I'm going to need to fill with buttercream, and again it would be the same if it was ganache. This is what that works against, so you press against the acrylic edge.
Yeah.
Good tip.
Yeah, this one just gives you a much thicker layer of buttercream, which is lovely.
Which is what we like.
Yeah, but if you haven't got such a sweet tooth and you only want a small layer, then that's when the semi-naked one's always a really good thing. I love this turntable. I'm going to get myself one after this.
Yeah.
This is my next big purchase.
Yeah.
Is a decent turntable. I use a £5.50 wooden Lazy Susan from IKEA.
Yeah.
It's nice as well, but it is a little bit wobbly.
So many people do that, don't
Yeah,
they?
they're great. They're really good.
Yeah.
They work really well.
Just
They're
not
nice and
high
big.
though, are they?
No.
And also this just doesn't wobble at all, whereas it wobbles
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah.
So I think I have it really straight, and then I look at it and think, oh, maybe not. Right. My top, all I'm going to do is just smooth it. Just like that. This is going to have to go back in the fridge again.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be, this is why I made two, because I thought at least it'd be going back and forth.
So Power, don't worry about the cover. I will get Imogen to show you again how it actually works. I don't think she really needs to mix any more buttercream,
No,
but I will get her
yeah.
to attach it to the machine for you so you can have a look again.
While those two layers are actually setting in the fridge, I thought what I'd do is make some other little bits, so we can sort of
Super.
utilise the time well.
Yeah.
Shall I? Is it a good time to do orange slices?
Yeah.
Is that
It is
right?
an excellent
Let's go to a
time.
different camera.
Did you work out how to use the hob, or do you need my assistance?
Maria told me.
Did she? Good, because I have no idea.
Now you will have to really shout up
Yeah.
now, I'm
Yeah.
afraid.
Yeah, you're going to have to shout as loud as you can.
Okay.
Or could we plug it into the camera? You could plug it into that camera down there. Oh no, was it this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Right, so
are we on that camera down there? Just 1 second, Imogen. I'm not sure what camera I'm on.
I think it was on me then.
Yeah.
I need to know which direction to shout in.
You need to shout in this direction,
As
but we're
far
on
as
the
you can
camera
to
over there.
Right. Yeah, so basically what I've done is just in a good heavy bottomed frying pan, I've added some caster sugar. What I'm going to be doing is caramelising orange slices. So you can do orange slices where you take off the rind and then you dip them in egg white and dry them out and then add caster sugar. But what I'm going to do is actually caramelise the whole orange slice. And what that involves is making a really simple caramel, which on this amazing hob is probably not going to take too long. And all you need is just sugar. It could be caster sugar or granulated sugar. And all you want to do is leave it in the pan until it heats up and starts caramelising. And then you can put orange slices in it. The orange slices, I often, when I'm doing them at home, I will cut the oranges up and then put them straight in with the sugar, and they bubble away and it all smells incredible. But they do then almost need to be left out overnight to dry a little bit, and as we obviously don't have overnight to dry things, I thought I would sort of speed up that process. So before I left the house this morning, I cut all my orange slices up like this, sort of fairly thin, and then I just dried them with a bit of kitchen towel and then put them in the oven on 70 degrees.
You've got to up the ante. They can't hear you.
Okay, I had to put them in the oven at 70 degrees for probably about 40 minutes, and it just dried the orange slices out a little bit, so there's not tons of liquid coming out of them when I come to add them to the sugar. And then hopefully, in the time that we've got, it should set quite nicely.
Sorry guys about the volume, but with our system we can only put one mic in and the hob isn't at that end. So sorry about that, but she is shouting as loud as she can.
It'll take a little while, I think, for this. It's beginning to heat up.
So just bear with us, we're just heating up the sugar. It does take a little while. Would we not be able to put that microphone in the camera down there?
Never tried it before.
So guys, I'm just going to try something, okay? I'm just going to try something. I'm going to unplug this microphone, plug it in the camera down there and see if that works. If you don't hear nothing,
You'll still hear it.
we'll still hear something.
From here.
Yeah. So let me just see, because of this camera. Oh, it's hose covered, yeah. So that is. Right. Don't know. Can we hear anything? Can the audience say whether they can hear?
We'll have to wait. So.
We'll have to wait 30 seconds. Is that better, guys?
So
Sugar's melted.
basically, the sugar's pretty much all melted. It's best not to stir it. You just
shout
kind of
up just in case.
swirl. Yeah. So all I'm doing is swirling the sugar. It's almost done. And then what I'm going to do is just plop my little orange slices in.
So hopefully, guys, you can hear. I've just moved the microphone down this end. Do let me know if you can hear.
There's quite a lot of people saying they can hear perfectly fine.
I could always hear it when you
So-
had the lady in the cooker a while
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, Laura.
Right.
Right.
So
They must all be deaf like me.
be really careful when you're doing this. You probably shouldn't put your fingers quite as close as
I was just thinking maybe not a good tip now.
Yeah.
But it is something exactly what I would do.
Yeah. Do you have a little fork or something I can use to turn these
I
over?
do. There we go. Have a normal fork.
Lovely, that's great, thank you. So yeah, they start to really caramelise quite quickly, and then you can just flip them over.
Oh, don't they look lovely?
Yeah.
It's so nice, so
Okay.
it's incredible.
They look
And you don't
gorgeous.
need a lot of time. It has made a massive difference. The fact
Yeah.
that I dried them out this morning.
And they smell nice.
Yeah,
don't
the
they?
smell is amazing.
You could actually, instead of using the caster sugar, we could have maybe used some of your mulled wine sugar.
That would
That
be
would
interesting
work,
to give it a
wouldn't
go.
it? Yeah, because that would then give it a delicious smell. So then I'm just going to turn this off, because you don't want them to burn. They're unlikely to burn unless you leave them in for ages. And then all I'm going to do is just put them onto a non-stick mat.
Can everybody hear Maria? Laura?
Yeah, yeah.
So do you think our camera's working then if we're down here?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch the live back properly.
Can you see that
Yeah.
over there?
Yeah, brilliant.
Poor Imogen, she's at some angles today.
I
aren't you? Now you know what it feels like now.
I know.
Now you're this side of the kitchen. I do say to everybody, it's not actually easy being in the kitchen, is it?
No.
You know, you don't think of all the obstacles that are in front of you. Right, Maria.
Okay, I'm going to leave this to cool.
Right, and I'm going to unplug the volume again.
I'll leave those over there to make it cool.
They smell good.
I've got someone asking how long they'll last. So if you've made them for decorations or something like that.
I have found, which camera am I looking in?
Me.
Yeah,
To Laura.
Me.
I've found when I've made, I have kept them in like, they're rigid, can kind of weep a little bit. So,
Right, okay.
I tend to, if I'm putting them on a cake, I'll put them on the cake just as it's about to go out the door, so it doesn't sit there for ages. But so yeah, probably a couple of days.
Right.
You just don't want them to get too humid because like a lot of sugary stuff can kind of
just
start to drip.
sweaty
and
and-
go a bit
yeah.
weird. Right, lovely. So what we'll do is we'll get other bits ready so that we've got a collection of things, and then when I start working on all together.
I think somebody's just told us that me and Laura have got big gobs.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
they can hear
I'm
Laura
too
and
quiet.
Carol louder than Imogen.
I was
But can
shouting
you
as
all-
well.
Thanks, Pam. Is that letting me know that me and Laura got big gobs then? You're joining me now, Laura
Right, so one of the things, basically we're going to make lots of different toppings to go on this. And they're all simple things. They're not things that take ages. They don't take any like moulds or anything. It's more just sort of simple, tasty things. So cake pops are my absolute nemesis. I've never been able to do them. I have.
I'm actually really scared because I know you're going to ask me to melt the.
No, I'm going to do that something later.
I can feel myself stuttering.
The microwave.
Oh God. Yeah, there is going to be microwaving that I need to do later. Yeah, so basically cake pops have always been a bit of a nemesis of mine. I always find that they kind of crack. Am I looking at you?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Always.
Yeah, I always find that they either crack, and I didn't realise until I watched one of your lives, the lady called Claire, that
Yes.
it's because I was literally freezing them, then dipping them in the chocolate because I thought that was the best way, and of course that makes them crack.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh, maybe they're not my nemesis. Maybe I'll try again. So the way I make, and I also used to crumble the cake by hand as well. Whereas I noticed that Claire did it in the food processor for ages. Oh, brilliant. So so I did that now. So I made some in the food processor and added ganache to it. And the idea was that I was going to make these little truffles and then dip them into chocolate and then put sprinkles on and everything. However,
Have you changed our mind?
I suddenly realised at home, I thought, oh no, I thought of a bit different way of doing it. Rather than constantly dipping it in the chocolate, which takes ages, and I'm not a cake pops expert, so I don't want to be sort of, don't you can Claire for things like that. Yeah. So basically what I've got, so it's chocolate cake, chocolate ganache, until it comes together in a nice sort of dough. And I'm just going to make some little sort of truffle balls. Where would you like me to put them?
Yeah, in the middle.
Just there,
Perfect.
right?
Yeah.
And actually these, I say there's just cake and chocolate. It's not. It's cake, ganache and brandy.
Oh, nice.
Because
that sounds
because
nice.
they're for Christmas.
Is this one for tasting now, is it?
I was going to say, yeah. There's definitely gonna be.
Even though I'm not allowed alcohol because I'm allergic to it, I can have it in something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can have it if
just
it's
can't-
cooked, can't you?
I can have it if it's
Yeah.
cooked, yeah.
These aren't cooked, but I'm
No, I know.
supposed to say
I know,
probably
I
not
can have
very
it in
much.
anything that's doughy or stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I
but,
suppose it absorbs it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so these are kind of cake pops or truffles for people who hate the dipping part of cake pops or truffles. And because it's not the main part of the cake, it's just another little extra bit. They're basically kind of treat-laden cakes. I just want them to be delicious and lots of edible things.
Well, they sound delicious.
So yeah, I'll make a few of these.
Apparently I'm very loud compared to Imogen.
Well, I was going to say, those people who put their earphones in can always hear perfectly.
See, I always listen on headphones.
Yeah.
So
And
I think that
do you
makes
know
a
what? We
difference,
get
doesn't
loads
it?
of customers who say they've always listened to our lives via the headphones,
Yeah.
and they never have an issue at
Yeah.
all. So all of you, go and get your earphones out.
I've got a tiny mini star in this because I was making ones of gold stars the other day. Must have been on next to my bag.
So the acrylic scraper, we don't actually sell this particular scraper. We do have scrapers on our website, but not this clear one. So I presume you'll just have to Google acrylic scrapers, but we do have a really good selection of scrapers, and the only clear ones that we have are the PME patterned ones. At the moment, we've got 4
I don't think it
lovely
makes
patterns.
any difference whether they're clear or not, really.
No,
I
it
like
doesn't.
kind of chop and change between
Yeah.
the two.
Yeah.
I usually use the metal one as my final scrape,
Yeah.
just to be like super neat. So I've made these little ball shapes like that. And then I will need to wash my hands after we do this. I originally thought, oh, I'll just paint them with a paintbrush with luster, and then the easiest way of doing what I did, I'm going to work out which one I want to do first. I'll do a gold. Is are
They're
these
open.
brand new or they?
No, they're open.
Oh right, mine have the plastic bits off them.
Oh, maybe they
Oh,
have,
no,
haven't they?
that one's new. That's still got
Yeah,
the...
it's got the little
Yeah.
taggy bit
Yeah.
on.
And that one's new.
Yeah,
Ah,
well,
right,
that's
okay.
alright. It was not just me
Yeah.
being really stupid. I was
Yeah.
thinking I can't open it.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh yeah. So yeah, originally the plan was that I was just going to like paint a bit of the gold onto your little things, and because they're kind of sticky, that luster sticks. However, I found the easiest way of doing it is to put a little bit in my hand, just of the luster, like that, and then
That's much easier.
put it in like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sort of sticks it really nicely. You kind of have to a bit of trial and error as to how much you need. I also quite often use the little gold sprays that come in a little puff things. And I did try those as well, but the actual hand bit seemed to work a little bit better. And basically you just end up with, it's like a gilded truffle,
Yeah.
but not anything that's got too much shine or
No,
too much additional
that looks good.
stuff on it. So I'll just do a couple of these. I'll do a couple of gold ones. They can be from my traditional cake.
Ah, a lovely lady called Chippo has joined us. She came on one of our classes. So hello, Chippo. So by the way, talking of classes, both myself and Imogen offer classes. So when you do go over to Imogen's website, you offer classes, don't you? What you do at your
I
classes?
do. Well, I used to offer group classes, but trying to get a day that everyone could do. I used to have people email me all the time saying, oh, I can't do a Tuesday or I can't do a Thursday. And I used to do them every day of the week. And it just ended up being like one person on one day, and then it was just really hard. So basically I changed it now, and because I'm always doing wedding cakes, I don't have a lot of time to be really promoting my classes all that much. So now I focus on purely on I focus purely on doing one-to-one classes. So
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
yeah, the classes I do, it's great because they're tailor-made to whoever wants to come, and at the moment I'm doing a series of them for a girl who's used to be a teacher like me, and she wants to set up a cake business. So she's been coming back and forth, and we've done everything from baking. We did meringues, macarons and donuts. We've done painting onto cakes, we've made flowers. I taught her to make a fruit cake for her dad. And then what we're going to be focusing on in the next couple of weeks, we're going to do a day of painting on cakes. I'm going to do some airbrushing with her using my new Dawn airbrush. Didn't actually need a new one until I saw one.
You just have to have one,
I had
don't
to
you?
have one, yeah. Which is a bit of a nightmare because I didn't actually need one, but I really like it. And Dawn's airbrush. And I was just thinking, well, what if something happens and I can't, and I clog it up
It's
because I'm
always
not
best to
very
have
good
two,
at.
isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. See, I know, and Dawn would probably strangle me if she heard me saying this, but I know you're supposed to clean them straight after and wash them all out, and I rinse them out a little bit, but just not enough. So yeah, I always thought, well, what would happen if I was teaching a class and my airbrush breaks? I really ought to have two.
Yeah, that's a good enough excuse.
Yeah, I think so.
So Imogen does classes. So if you do pop over to her website, which is sugarbuttonscreative.co.uk.
Yeah.
Then you can buy her universal mixing guard. I couldn't think what it's called then. Mixing guard. Or you can maybe email her and talk to her about classes. While we're talking about classes, I've also put a selection of classes in the wish list as well. We've got our first one in January, which is a baking class. That's new to Sugar and Crumbs, and I am going to be showing you some basic baking skills. Oh. It should be a great class. I've already got a couple of people booked on there, so I just need a few more of you to join us as well. You're going to go home with loads of goodies. And I'm doing the cupcake bouquet classes using Nifty Nozzles and the Wilton tips, and I'm also doing the Nifty Nozzles class as well. We've also got Natalie Porter in for 4 classes this year, and I'm hoping to talk to a few more tutors about bringing them in later on in the year.
Lovely. Right, so I've got 4 for each cake, so I'm not going to need loads. I did promise that I wasn't going to make as much luster mess.
No, you're not.
Still a little bit
Save it. Video is here on Monday. So video is here on Monday. Just to let you know, there is no live on Thursday. There was going to be, but if you saw me this morning, I did a quick live this morning in the warehouse, and I'm going to be updating you with how our progress of our refit. So while Imogen's doing that, we're having a full warehouse refit. We're very excited but very scared, and we just know we're all going to fight and fall out, and there's going to be tears and tantrums and hugs and loves afterwards, we hope. So that's just me on my own.
It's alright, I'll bring plenty of chocolate to get us through it.
Chocolate, Coca-Cola and anything else.
Anything else.
So we basically have to drop all the racking, not us personally, we've got guys in to do it, but basically we have got to move everything, clean everything down, ready for the new racking coming in. We're having 4 aisles put in downstairs with an upstairs, we've never had an upstairs before, with 4 aisles going in there and all the existing racking being moved. And a lot of that is going onto our mezzanine roof, which is where I spend most of my time making gold boxes for you guys. So I'm hoping to have a nice section up there. So there's not going to be a live this Thursday or next Thursday, but there will be some impromptu lives. So it's looking good.
Right, yeah.
I like those little balls, the way you've done
They're
that.
really nice.
They look nice, don't they? They look almost like little Thornton's chocolates.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's a lot easier than doing
that pink has stained my hands. But it's fine, I'm a cake maker. I'm used to having strange coloured hands. And when I'm airbrushing, everything else is strangely coloured as well. Right, I might need a little splash of boiling water.
That's fine, as the Celtic Marie. Don't just turn it on.
It just gives it a little bit more sort of...
And then when you do get a minute, just go over your mixing guard again, how to use it again.
Yeah, actually what I might do is if I just do this top bit, then while that kettle's boiling, I'll show you how to put the mix guard and everything on again. And then that'll give it enough time just to heat up the kettle. You can do the whole scraping thing just with a palette knife. You don't have to have scrapers. I just find them a little bit easier because they've got a good edge on them. Right, so mixer guard. Shall I do that?
Do you want just an empty bowl?
Yeah, just grab me a bowl from there and I'll put that on. So I've got a couple of them with me. Where did I put it?
Oh, there's one here. Right under your nose.
Oh, yeah.
You know when we said it's all here.
No, but you know what? I have to package those. They come from Hong Kong in these little tiny packages. And then I have to fold all the instructions that I designed, I drew them all and everything, fold the instructions, put them inside one of these, put them in a plastic bag, and then staple the bits on. So I'm definitely not opening one that I've already, I'll just bring the one open, use the ones that are already open.
So this is Imogen's Universal Mixer Guard. It's a fabulous tool. If you want to buy it, you pop over to Imogen's website, which is sugarbuttonscreative.co.uk or .com?
.co.uk.
.co.uk. This is amazing. Okay, you will not need a wet tea towel or a tea towel ever again with one of these.
Cling film
Or cling film or anything, and definitely not a shower cap. I have done the shower cap and I have ripped up several in trying. I do have one of these myself. I have given it a go. It works fantastically. The only reason I've not used it on the lives, but you will see me using it all the time now, is that I was waiting for Imogen to come on and show it you herself, because I didn't want to show you myself.
Lovely,
In case I got it wrong.
Well, even though I've made this in 2015, so it's 3 years now I've had these, and yet I still manage to, when I'm putting them on, have to sort of move them around slightly because I can never quite remember which angle I'm holding them at. Basically, you stretch on the mixer guard over the top of the metal bowl, and you can put them on the glass bowls, but because they have that sort of little lip as well, it fits, but you really have to kind of stretch it. So I can't exactly say where it is in relation to your handle, but you'll see it when you put it on. But you have the little popper there, and then did you want me to move the mixer over here?
Yeah,
if you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while we're moving the mixer in, I'll just tell you a little bit more about our warehouse sale. So because of the amount of stock that we have to move, it will make our life easier if we've got no stock. So basically, I put as much as I can into the clearance cupboard. Now, if you buy any of the products from any of the other sections, then you won't get the discount. You must go to the clearance cupboard on our website and select goods from there. It's only those goods in there, but believe me, there's a lot. There's Karen Davies, there's Katie Sue, there's patchwork cutters, there's all sorts of things.
Cake Star modelling paste.
Cake Star, yeah, the whole Cake Star range is in there. I've also still left the Fractal colours on sale as well. Lindsay McIver showed you her shimmer using the airbrush, and Vidya is in on Monday airbrushing as well. So not only is she going to be throwing gold dust all over the place, she's going to be spraying my kitchen with an airbrush, which is rather worrying. So
no, you're fine where you are.
Facing here. So do make sure that if you want anything, grab it now. I need to get rid of as much as I can before Wednesday when we start our big move.
Right, so once I've got this in, if you imagine this could have icing sugar and butter and everything on it already, you can leave your mixer blade in place. You basically just put it on in its little locking bit position, and then the popper should be sort of at the front here. So then you make sure, I was going to say, I do it the other way round at home, I'm turning it on and splatting myself in the face. So yeah, you put your arm down, lift up the product.
I love that bit, the drawstring.
Yeah, it's really useful as well. So I tend to, you don't need to, it just holds onto itself because this top bit here then pulls over the top. And what that does is then fixes onto the popper. Obviously it's a button because it's sugar buttons.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's really tight. I tend to sometimes just wrap it around. There's no reason other than that. It's just what I tend to naturally do. But yeah, as long as you make sure that when you feel round, you haven't got it caught on something, on the lever at the back or anything, and everything's all smooth, you can then start up your mixer slowly, and then you can carry it on. To be honest, I tend to, just as a proof of how brilliant it is, I whack it on really fast, and the whole mixer starts like shuddering around. For making buttercream, you kind of need it to be sort of slowly working your way up anyway, but this is the way I do it. So
this is a universal mixer guard, and it's fantastic for those guys who've got a KitchenAid, because as much as KitchenAid is a fantastic machine, I have to say they have invented the worst guard ever.
I know,
it's
mad,
a complete waste of plastic. I don't even know why they bother giving it yet. It's useless,
it's odd, isn't it? Really strange.
So going back to the clearance cupboard while Imogen takes this apart, going back to the clearance cupboard, you will see that things don't give you a sale price. Just pop them in your basket, and when you go to checkout, it will give you an automatic £25 discount. 25%. 25% discount.
Spend £10, get 25.
Yeah, no, 25% discount, sorry. Also, it gives you free delivery on orders over £40, and that is the pre-discounted price. So basically, you spend 30 quid practically, and you're getting free discount. So you can't moan at that. It's nearly 35–40% discount. So don't miss out. It's a great deal. Grab what you can.
Right, I've just added a little bit of boiling water into this, just to make it a little bit smoother, just for the final couple of scrapes. Sorry, which way am I facing?
Where do you want to be?
well, I'm just going to be doing
Yeah,
stuff
fine.
here. Yeah, is that
That's
right?
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so what a lot of people do when they make buttercream is they put a splash of milk in. And I can't remember what happened, but I think there was a day once where I added a splash of milk, and whether it was just a particularly cold day or not, it kind of made the buttercream sort of curdle, and I think it just went with the butter. And so since then, I once went to the effort of heating up some milk, but for a splash it seems pointless. So yeah, literally, I boil a kettle and I put a splash of boiling water, and I get to, and it makes absolutely no difference to the taste, and it just makes it really smooth.
Right, I just got an interesting question, and to be fair, this lady's quite right. Margaret Lowe said, would be better if we could do it in a see-through bowl so they could see what was going on. Now, I have a glass bowl. Does it work with a glass bowl?
It does, except it does, but you have to really kind of stretch it because the glass bowl's got a lip on it.
It's quite bigger, isn't it?
But I can put
Do you
it on
want to give it a go? Should we give it a go?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, Margaret, let's hold our breath. I shall now go and get the glass bowl.
I'm going to have to use that melted butter though, aren't I?
You are going to use the melted butter. Hang on, I'll melt you some fresh.
That's fine. To be honest, we can just pick a bit out
carry
there.
on crumb coating the cake.
Yeah. So this is my one that's going to be a semi-naked cake. So I'm putting on this sort of soft layer. Let's see where I've been. Yep. Over the top of my initial layer, and because of this, I'm now not getting any crumbs in it because it had sat in the fridge and firmed up. You always need extra buttercream. Often when I'm running classes, people say to me, "Well, how many grams of buttercream do I need for a certain amount of cake?"
Imogen, are we going to do the kilo again?
No, we'll just do one butter, I think. Yeah. I'm going to use my metal scraper for this one. Again, it doesn't really matter, but it's the final sort of neat scrape. And basically, the thing with the what was I saying? I can't remember.
The amount of buttercream.
The amount of buttercream, yeah. I always say it's difficult to actually sort of tell an exact quantity because whether you're using buttercream or ganache or anything like that, you need to have enough to put on, and then you need to be able to take it off. And if you're so you're always going to have some left over. You can never really make it the exact amount. I mean, you could then use it for cupcakes, or you could.
There's always a use for it.
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
There?
I've always got random leftovers of buttercream or ganache in the house. I just realised the metal on metal sounds a little. So if I was just doing this as a semi-naked cake with no watercolour on it, I would work around this and make it super neat. But because I'm going to do the watercolour, I almost want it to have the odd pocket of space. My little gripper isn't gripping very well.
Do you want another?
It kind of fits. I think it needs to be smaller than my little thingy. It's just, I think sometimes if they get a bit of icing sugar on them, they get a bit dry. But if you can see, hopefully, the fact that because this is a semi-naked one, you can see the actual
the layers,
and it's not as rustic as a fully naked cake, which just has
that's really
you can still get a nice crisp effect. So that's a basic semi-naked cake. Now then, one of my favourite techniques to do with the top, and I did this purely by accident. I was doing this part of the cake, and then actually thought, oh, I quite like the top like that. It's called a décollage, which is inspired by kind of wedding stationery and fancy papers. So I usually do this with my ganache cakes. If I'm doing a cake that's completely covered in ganache, I will smooth the top out normally first, and then instead of smoothing this bit off and making it all sharp, I specifically make sure that the layer is sticking up over the top. And I like it just because when I did it with ganache, I then used like a gold, oh no, it was a silver, and it looks almost like sort of gunmetal. Looks really nice, and you can get like kind of a nice effect. But also, some massive wedding happened in May this year, and a certain royal family had a wedding cake that was very controversial, and lots of cake makers didn't like it. Well, I was like, well, that's my décollage that I did.
There you go.
Inspired by the royal wedding, that wasn't. They were inspired by me. They weren't at all. Yeah, lots of people didn't like it. I know quite a few people said it was too rough and they didn't like the top edge bit. I was just thinking, I like the fact that it's totally different. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
But basically, you get like this kind of raised lip. And if I'm doing something like a cake with, lovely, thank you.
You're on Santa Snowball.
Oh, lovely.
Now, there was a very funny comment on Facebook yesterday. What does Santa's Snowball taste like? I'm not saying anymore.
I was just thinking.
Did you see it? Went on. And how am I going to get my hard sugar off there?
Oh, you just stick it in the wash, it will be finished.
This is my new lollipop.
I'd say Santa Snowball smells a bit like toasted marshmallows. Is that a better smell? Sort of.
I haven't given you Santa Snowball. It's toasted marshmallows.
Oh, is it? Sorry, my bad.
Which one
I've
is
just
it?
realised
Is it
that's
Santa Snowball? What is it? I'll give you.
No, it's Santa
It
Snowball.
smells like really vanilla-y. It smells lovely. But when you said it's Santa Snowball, I thought,
It's ginger and white chocolate.
oh, is it?
Yeah, with the
It's
white
chocolate
you
I can smell. Oh, that smells incredible. Yeah, so often if I'm doing a wedding cake or something like this with loads of fresh flowers, I might put gold leaf around the top, which is really lovely. But that's basically
That's
it
lovely. Lovely and
for
smooth.
the base. I love the natural colour of that. It's gorgeous.
Well, the more wine does have a beige colour.
You can't see it when it's in the icing,
Yeah,
can you?
no.
When it comes out.
Oh, Maria, I forgot to get the glass bowl out. I've been that busy sorting the sugar and the butter out, I forgot the glass bowl. Sorry.
I'll quickly get this
So
little
Debbie's
bowl.
one, we didn't actually go over the recipe for the sponge cake. It's just a standard sponge cake where Imogen weighs the eggs and then does the rest of the ingredients dependent on the weight of the eggs.
Yeah, so what I do is...
Well, let's just say, if you're doing a 6 ounce mix,
yeah.
okay, so on a 6 ounce mix, I would use 6 ounces of butter,
Yeah.
6 ounces of sugar, 3 eggs,
Yeah.
6 ounces of flour.
Yeah.
How much would you weigh your eggs?
Well, because I do it all in grams now, I can't. A large egg is supposed to be between 65 and 70 grams, but because they're all slightly different, it's not always easy to work out.
Yeah.
But that's why I weigh the eggs rather than use an actual quantity. I don't sit and work it all out. I weigh them, and it's a really, really basic recipe. So I weigh my eggs, and if my eggs came to say, I don't know, 225 grams, I would do 225 grams of margarine. And I know there's a bit of there's a debate in the cake world. Like, some people say you absolutely should never ever use margarine for anything. I've never put margarine unless it's dairy free in a buttercream.
No.
But in a cake, I
Always use
prefer
margarine.
margarine in
Yeah,
a cake
me
because
too.
I think it's not as, it doesn't go as heavy or as greasy, although lots of people make very light, lovely cakes with butter as well. So, you know, everyone's different.
No, I always use margarine for cakes.
Yeah.
Unless it's a Madeira, then I use butter.
Yeah, and there's things like red velvet. My recipe is an American recipe and it happens to use butter, so I use butter for that. Or if I'm using something that's a very specific recipe and not just something that's in my head, because all of my flavours generally, I start with that basic recipe.
Yeah.
And then I just add bits to it. So people sort of say, oh, well, what recipe do you use for the coffee cake? And I'm like, I just add coffee to it.
Mine, yeah.
I add coffee, but I generally, with a lot of things, with cakes, I don't like them to not taste properly of what they're supposed to taste of.
Yeah.
So if it's coffee, a recipe will tell you to put a tablespoon. I'll maybe put 4 tablespoons in. Mainly because I love coffee cake, and the idea of having a coffee cake that tastes vaguely of coffee and not really strongly just is
And then you can
sounding.
match up with our vanilla latte, which is
Precisely.
amazing.
Yes.
We used to make a coffee flavoured icing sugar, but it really didn't go down well, and I have to say it was one of my favourites.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but people didn't really love it as much as I did. But we make vanilla latte now, and it's
That's
a really
gorgeous.
good seller, isn't it? Yeah.
I love that one. So there's a couple, just a couple of questions while Imogen's just covering the cake. The flavoured icing sugars are vegan and gluten free. Obviously, it depends what you're doing with the icing sugar as to whether you need to keep it vegan and gluten free. So you just need to bear that in mind. And as we said before, the majority of them are white. Some of them that contain cinnamon, like the mulled wine and the apple crumble, do come out like a slight beige colour. And obviously the chocolate ones are a rich chocolate colour when you make them up into buttercream. Someone's asking, oh yes, swipe across your screen if you want to get rid of the comments. That's the other
Either
question.
turn it to portrait,
Yeah.
or swipe to the left, or
Swipe to the right. We can never remember which one.
To the right. Yeah.
Do you weigh your eggs in the shells
Yes, that's another thing. I saw somebody recently that said you have to weigh them in liquid form, and I remember thinking, oh, I don't do that. And then I thought, yeah, but most recipes say use a large egg or use 2 large eggs, and then the difference in size between large eggs, whether you buy them from Tesco's, Aldi or whatever, they're kind of, or if they're your own eggs from your own chickens or something, they're never going to be exactly the same. No. So I don't think it makes enough of a difference to I mean, some people crack all the eggs first and then do it. I just weigh them. It's much easier to weigh them dry.
I also think it's personal choice, because where you're happy weighing, I always just use large eggs and never. Yeah. And yet you've got people who use medium eggs.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's a funny old world, you know. I think we all get used to our own recipe, and that's it.
Yeah, of course.
And you know, sometimes people would deviate and say, I tried somebody else's recipe and it didn't work. Well, no.
But it worked for that person.
Yeah.
And it always has done. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's different, aren't they?
I always find it funny when they say, oh, use the flavoured icing sugar and it didn't work.
What?
Well,
what did it work?
It's only sugar.
Yeah.
It's the same as any other sugar.
It's just got a flavour in it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that, I mean, don't get me wrong, 97% of people don't have any problems with it. But then you get those odd ones who just don't work.
Yeah. I think the thing with everything, especially stuff within the cake world, is everything's different for everybody, and if things don't work for you in a certain way, then that's fine, because everyone has their own things. But lots of people get very hit up about stuff, and that other people are doing it wrong, and I kind of feel like you're not doing it wrong, you're just doing it your way, and if it works, it works, and it's not disgusting. Like, I know lots of people who make buttercream which is half butter and half sugar. And to me, that feels like, I don't think that's going to taste very nice. But yeah, I know hundreds of people. I know a wedding cake maker who that's how she makes all her buttercream, and everyone loves her cakes. So it can't be bad.
It's just different.
Yeah, it's just different. What people
What's
used to.
Sugar?
I couldn't imagine.
Well, isn't that what we? Oh
no.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, equal.
Right,
I just realised.
Yeah,
no, we do 2 to 1, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Do,
but you know, I went on a class with a lady who did that, and I just didn't like it. It was too buttery.
Yeah, and it does taste of butter.
Yeah.
I think my other thing as well that I don't know, was it salted or unsalted butter?
I think she uses salted. I prefer
unsalted.
unsalted.
This one here.
Unsalted.
I always use salted. So when I do a vanilla buttercream, people say, "Oh my God, your vanilla buttercream is incredible," and I'm just like, "It's just icing sugar and butter and vanilla. Like, it's nothing special." And I think, I think the difference is I do salted.
Yeah, well, salted takes the sweetness away, so I think they get to taste the flavour more.
Yeah, and a lot of Americans, when you look at their recipes, they always add salt to everything. So anything that's sweet, they add a pinch of salt, or worse, I sometimes see them add like a teaspoon of salt. I think, but then the whole point of salt really is that it sort of enhances flavours, so maybe that's why. So this one, I have purposefully left this sort of hole here.
Oh, that was deliberate, was it?
No, yeah, I have actually.
I thought it was a trick.
Yeah, no, it's not one of those situations. Yeah, I did it on purpose. Basically, when I do my watercolour effect, it's quite nice to have quite a deep bit around the bottom, so I was trying I wanted to catch some of it. But I'm hoping it will show up on the camera that with this one's using the ganache plate, and I've also used a lot more buttercream, and it goes right the way up to the edge of this little thing. So that's that.
We just thought you didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah. Just came in, start flinging some buttercream around.
And here, you're going to have to show them how to use this. You're going to have to let them see this now with a glass bowl.
Yeah, with a glass bowl.
We'll have to bring the mixer right in front of us again.
Yes, okay. Shall I bring it back into here? Is that right?
Yeah, we may as well.
Sorry.
So guys, what we're going to do is, Margaret Lowe just said that she would like to see this done with a glass bowl, just so that she could see what was going on in the bowl. So we're not going to do double quantity as we did before, because the buttercream is, perfect, because the buttercream is not required for anything, unless I'm going to start sloshing it all over cakes tomorrow. So Imogen, as said, the thing with the glass bowl is from the steel bowl, it's just a little bit harder to get your cover on, your universal cover, simply because if you just show the steel bowl doesn't have the lip. The steel bowl doesn't have a lip on, which we're going to show you with the glass bowl does now.
Yeah, and to be honest, when I designed the product, I didn't have a glass bowl. I now have got a glass bowl, but I tend to use my glass bowl for all my cakes, and then my buttercream, which because you don't need this for flour, it sort of doesn't really do much. I always put the glass one on first because you want to get it in the right position first. And so what you can do, you shouldn't do this bit because otherwise you get it covered everywhere, but just if you're in real life doing it, you can sort of put it on while the beater blade's in place, she says. Right, so yeah, the bit
They
that's
like
slightly
to
more
test
tricky.
you, you know.
I know.
You wasn't going to get away on this demonstration so
yeah, we
easy.
might be doing the white.
They're not daft here at Sugar and Crumbs, you know. They want to see it all.
Yeah, there we go. So it works. It's just a little bit more
Yeah.
stretch.
Yeah.
Like that. So that's on there. Yeah, and it's just slightly harder to push the whole thing down like that. But oh god, I nearly turned it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you put it down, roll this bit up. Yeah, and I haven't put the ingredients in.
You haven't? No, I was going to say it's going to be quite an interesting mix, that.
We'll just mix some stuff around a glass.
I was wondering when you were going to put the ingredients in.
I forgot. I thought we were just showing again. I forgot. Yeah, this is the thing. It tends to occasionally catch on it, so. Right, there we go.
Right, so we're just going to
It's a
mix
whole
a bit of mulled
block
wine
of
with
that.
Santa Snowball, but don't worry, it'll be fine.
So this is a hot. This is 250 grams.
250 grams of butter, softened,
Nice and soft.
probably a little bit too soft.
No, I like it soft.
I got chatting to Imogen earlier and forgot to turn the microwave off.
We had soup. What am I doing?
You did say soup.
So yeah, this is 500 grams of Santa snowballs. Yeah, that's the only bit you can't guard against is the getting the icing sugar from the packet into the bowl.
So Caroline Stevens says, hi everybody, I would like the mixer guard, not the KitchenAid one, but I have asked Santa for one as she has been a good girl this year. Well done, Carol.
I'll put a little splash of boiling water in to start with as well.
So we've got a great audience tonight. Thank you for joining us. Do make sure you give those thumbs up and love hearts for Imogen. It's the first time on a live demo, isn't it?
Yeah, I keep being told that you should do lives.
Yeah, so it's her first live demo. I am redirecting you to her website, which is Sugar Buttons Creative. So if you like the mixer guard, you can buy it direct from Imogen. Okay, it only comes in one colour, but it is very pretty in fairness. We're just going to show you on the glass bowl now, just so that you can see exactly how the magic works in the bowl.
And hopefully, because it's got the little lip, this doesn't fit quite as well, but hopefully it shouldn't go absolutely everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, I like seeing it in the bowl as well. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I wanted one in the end. I've seen so many on Bake Off with these glass bowls. I really want a glass bowl until I realised how heavy they are.
Yes,
Yeah.
And I've already got arthritis in my knees and I'm getting it in my arms, and actually just that extra added weight of a very heavy bowl.
Oh, Helen Miles says you wouldn't know it's her first live demo. You're doing very well.
Thank you.
They're very supportive, our Sugar and Crumbs.
I know, yeah.
They are, they're really good. And they, you know what amazes me? They always stay with us for 2 hours or
I know
more.
I do as well. My husband goes to bed and I'm still sitting there with my headphones in.
It's amazing, they stayed with us for 3 hours on Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Even Laura and Ria were ready to kill themselves.
Yeah, that's it basically. You can whack it up as high as you like. And
There's
no
actually not a dust, nothing, is there? So how great is this? There's not even any dust in this kitchen. So this is no chopping it in, no nothing, mixed, done.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like, I mean, if you can do it where you just put the butter in and a little bit of sugar and then a little bit more sugar.
Yeah.
but really, who has the time to be doing all
need
that?
Well, I'm going to use my mixer guard all the time now on the
I wanna
line,
smell
aren't
this.
I? Yeah. Is it good?
Yeah,
Give us a lick.
I'm on such a serious diet at the moment, it's ridiculous. I'm so glad I started my diet before I came here as well. I was literally looking at it thinking, if I could just lose a little bit of weight.
Imogen's been so good. She's only had a diet biscuit.
I know, it's sad, isn't it?
So do you like it, guys? What do you think? Isn't it a fabulous piece of kit? So if anybody wants it, it's £18. It's on Imogen's website. It's well worth the investment. You can pop it in the machine, okay, but in the washing machine, but don't pop it in the dryer because it's stitched with rubber stitching, and I don't want you to melt the rubber stitching in the dryer.
Yeah.
So let's get back to our cake.
Lovely. What was I going to do? I was just going to make a couple more extra little bits to stick on.
Super.
Oh, I need melted chocolate.
Right, okay.
Which I just need a little bowl.
What's your making over it?
Like and share.
No, we're not getting on the melted chocolate.
I know that
The melted chocolate's not very good, right? Laura, shall I do camera? You do it. Yeah. Yeah, that's about it.
It's really weird. I just glanced down and saw your thing there, but I could see me moving
See
around.
you.
I wasn't moving around. I forgot about the delay.
So I'm going to put Laura on the melted chocolate bit because I manage. You can do the camera, can't you, Maria? I
This
always.
is really posh.
I know. This is expensive chocolate. This one.
Yeah. See, often I'll put vanilla in my chocolate to make it look like that.
Green and blacks.
Yeah.
Chocolate. I know. Oh,
You
it's
can
spoiling,
do-
Imogen.
What I'm doing here, you can do that with candy melts, which
Yes.
Oh,
The reason we're
maybe.
using
Fancy.
the reason we're using green and blacks is Imogen did ask for the candy melts and I forgot to bring them home from work today.
so it's how does it taste? Thank you. Just needs to be melted.
And when I rang Laura for some other bits, I forgot to tell Laura as well. Oh, that tastes good in there, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It's incredible.
Doesn't
I'm just
it?
going to quickly grab a glass of stick water.
So if anybody wants to know what a Santa's snowball tastes like, the innuendos of that poor lady's comment. On our group yesterday, somebody
Did she
wrote...
not mean it in that way?
No.
Oh.
In our group yesterday, so please join our Facebook group, but we do have a group called Sugar and Crumbs All About Cake Community. If you're not on there, go over there and join it. It's a fantastic group. It's very active. We've got 14,500 members and 12,500 of them are proactive, are active all the time. It's a fantastic group. So some lady very innocently put on there yesterday, what does Santa's snowball taste like? Well, you can imagine the innuendo. It was so funny. Got a little bit out of hand on sometimes, but but basically it tastes of ginger and white chocolate.
It smells incredible.
Well, our Santa's snowball does.
Yeah. So what I've got here is some of the buttercream. You can mix up an actual coloured buttercream, but because I want to give like a proper watercolour effect, I'm actually going to do it in a very arty way using an artist's palette knife. I use these.
They're from the art shop, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just from the art shop. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean obviously I bought them brand new for cakes.
So you can nip into Hobbycraft and buy these and pick up our sugars as well.
Is that where you got them from?
Yeah, that's good, isn't it?
And yeah, what you mustn't do is put them in the dishwasher because I did put one in my, well, I think it's possibly my husband, but one of us put one in the dishwasher and it came out completely rusty, so I just took it away. But yeah, they're really, really flexible. You can get cake versions of these. I think Wilton do them with a little purple handle. And they're probably 4 times the price of like an artist one, but they're brilliant. I use them for absolutely everything. Before I was using them for this sort of technique, I literally use them for like, if you're making something out of fondant and you want to just pick it up, just that underneath, it just takes it off really, really easily, and I love them. I also use them for filling in sort of ganache or cutting bits off, or
Oh, great.
over there. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, talk to
I
Maria
wasn't
now.
sure if that, yeah. Did you want me to sort of splodge that?
So we're down there? Yep.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do here, originally I usually work with like a vanilla, which is like a white buttercream or whatever colour it is, and I like to keep it white, but the fact that this has got little flecky bits in, I just think is lovely. So it gives a nice sort of natural effect anyway, even though this pink one is going to be for our slightly more candy coloured Christmas, because not everyone has a traditional
In case any of you are asking as well, this is called the Stay Fresh mat, okay? It is on our website. I forgot to put it in the wish list, but it's a Stay Fresh mat and it's perfect for to use like as a big palette for mixing her colours with.
Yeah.
Her, Imogen, mixing Imogen's colours with.
I usually use one of my ganache plates or a little chopping board, but you want something that's nice and smooth. And the aim of what I'm trying to do here is I don't want to have like the whole thing completely pink. I want to have quite a bright bit, and it's easier to add a little bit at a time. So I want to have one that's quite bright in one section, and then the rest of it can sort of fade out a little bit, because I want to be able to create a little bit of texture with it. It totally depends on what colours you use as well, doesn't it? Some of my gel colours I can only put a tiniest bit in and it instantly turns the whole thing one colour. Whereas these are a little bit more subtle, which is nice. You've got a bit more control over it. Yeah, so that's my little palette that I'm going to use to paint the buttercream on. I'm just going to get that out of the fridge. I need to make a quick decision as to which one I'm going to use as my pink one.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the buttercream one. think we'll keep the semi-naked cake as the one that's going to have the natural bits on top. I think it kind of goes with it a bit better. So starting with my deliberate holes at the bottom there, just making sure where am I doing it towards yours.
Yeah.
You kind of just fill them in.
Do you come around here, Maria?
Yeah,
Just hang on a
sorry.
second.
I was trying to work out.
Don't start without a... Do you want to come in here, Maria?
Yep. So yeah, where I've got some of my holes.
Don't forget to move the camera this way.
Just literally just sort of, you kind of want to splat it on, but I like mine to be almost a little bit ombre, so you've got the darker colour at the bottom and then letting it fade up. I can occasionally, depending on what someone's asked me for, is do a very specific ombre bit, so you do the dark all the way around the bottom, then the next layer, then the next layer, and then smooth it all together. But I do prefer, when I'm doing just one of my watercolory ones like this, is just to sort of do it in a slightly abstract manner. You can also literally just put your buttercream on, and you can actually just put colour on your sort of palette knife. You don't get quite as nice effect, you kind of almost get like a shiny bit where the colour is. So, and then if I scrape round,
Yeah, I like what I'm
you
seeing.
get
So.
this kind of effect. And what I'm hoping for here, this is not like another get out, if it goes messy, you don't want it to be completely smoothed in. I want it to look like it's been put on with an artist's palette knife, because the whole point is it's a watercolour cake and it's inspired by, you know, rough textured painting. So thank you. Yeah, so I would basically work my way round. I like often to have my cakes to have sort of a slightly asymmetric design, so you'd have more details on one side. So in other words, in this section I'm just putting the odd little bit of pink, but I'm having quite a big chunk of pink here, and then just smaller bits in the other sections. And if I feel like I've put a bit too much on, I can just add another bit of a natural colour. It is really quick, it's simple, and when it's done well, I think it looks lovely.
It's looking good so far. It smells good.
It does, it smells amazing. Yeah, so you can go a bit artistic by texturing it as you go along. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who do nice perfect white cakes who might be sort of shuddering at this.
No, I love that effect. It's so pretty.
Yeah,
But I love a bit of texture. Texture's very fashionable in weddings at the moment as well, with all sorts of different textures in all different areas of weddings, like stationery and everything. So I like to kind of tie in with decor and stuff like that. So yeah, this is basically how I would leave it on this section, because I want it to have some colour, but I also want to be able to see the natural vanilla, or not vanilla, mulled wine base. I will just add a little bit on the top, just purely to sort of tie it in, which is another reason why I didn't completely cover the top bit. These little palette knives are perfect for using for stuff like this, because even if you don't have one of the giant ones, you can do just the same thing with a artist knife as well. And again,
we do have some angled scrapers, but for those, we've got some angled scrapers which I've put in the wish list. Well, I'm putting them in the wish list now. I've put all the scrapers that we sell in the wish list as well. And but of course, do feel free to go down to Hobbycraft and get these and pick up some icing sugars as well while you're there.
So the colour that you've used tonight, is that the pale pink colour splash?
It was the pale pink colour splash, but because one of the pinks that I've got is like red, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
So I put a little bit on, and then I needed more and more and more. But it's better to do it that way around rather than put too much in and then realise.
But I will tell you, Imogen did ask me for pale pink tonight.
No, I wanted pale pink, yeah. But my pale pink.
Then you decided you want to go darker.
Well, no, but the trouble is, I've done it before, where mine it just comes out like a, I don't know, like a
You'd have been
burgundy
better off
colour.
with the pink that we had.
Yeah, which I thought was going to be too dark.
Yeah.
This is lovely, and it's going to go nicely with all the little meringues.
Yeah.
So.
I love it.
I've just realised that the one bit I hadn't done is this bit doesn't have its little raised decal edge. So what I do is I go round and just add a bit more buttercream, sort of almost downwards, like you're pushing it down. There we go, and then when I give it a scrape, you get the little raised edge, and I've got quite a nice sort of bit of, a little bit of pink and a little bit of the natural colour coming through, which is nice. I suppose I get I get a bit faffy with it. I want to make it completely perfect. It will be fine.
Well, I just wish I could smooth my cakes as nice as that.
Fantastic.
I think it's a lot of practice. After several summers of making a lot of
Yeah.
semi-naked cakes. People always look at the cakes I have on display in my house and go, wow, you must sell so many painted cakes. And I'm like, no, everyone asks for these. I love making them, but it's not necessarily always as exciting as if I get to paint something crazy on a cake. But yeah, so again, I'll just hold that down slightly so you can see the top.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
And it's kind of just like
Beautiful.
a natural
So
effect.
what do we think, guys? Let's get those love hearts and hands up.
Should I put it in
Thumbs
the
up.
fridge? It's fun. I do need to wash my hands as well because
You go and wash your hands.
yeah.
I have to laugh, Carol. I came back from doing the chocolate and there were so many comments about don't let Carol near the chocolate.
Thanks for the support, guys. I'm confident. I have not yet. I'm scared of doing ganache because I just can't melt the chocolate.
Oh really?
I don't know what I
Ganache
do,
is
but I
my
burn it
dream.
every time. It goes weird.
Yeah, ganache is one of those things. Loads of people say, "Oh God, don't do it in the microwave. You should always do it on a bain-marie." And I know life is too short to be using a bain-marie. I always use a microwave, and I can never understand when some people don't have a microwave. They say, "Oh, how do you do that?" And I tell them, and then they say, "Oh, I don't have a microwave." Like, really? How do you cook baked beans?
No, I'm always amazed at people who don't have a microwave.
Yeah.
No, but I have never been successful yet in melting chocolate.
I was very worried, I have to admit.
It's all about gradual.
Yeah, well,
It's all part of terms and conditions of the job, Laura.
melted chocolate. That's probably not even melted anymore. It's probably started to set by now.
I know. I just suddenly thought that. Oh, I'm going to
It might need a few more seconds.
Yeah, no, this is all right actually. The candy melts. Which one am I putting that to?
That's
one,
really
yeah.
one's fine.
Yeah, it's real chocolate. It's quite thick compared to a candy melt.
Yeah.
Although candy melts can go sort of quite thick as well, and you can water them down a little bit using, like, I use coconut oil or a little bit of vegetable oil, but usually the coconut oil because it tends to be what I have in the house. So yeah, what we're going to use this for is to dip some pretzels in. So I have a selection of my natural items here.
So I love this display. It's just in the cupcake carrier box.
Yeah, because I had a long journey
Yeah.
and I thought I didn't want things
Great.
to get broken and damaged
Yeah.
along the way. So yeah, I just brought them in this.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how well these are going to dip because it's quite thick.
But
But
do you want us to loosen
we'll
it
look
down?
at it and see if I do one, and then if it looks a bit weird, we'll
Yeah.
add a bit of. Do you think vegetable oil would work?
Well, I've got coconut oil in
Oh,
a
we'll add a
block
bit
there
of
that I
that in.
could
That'd be
could
fine.
melt.
It's
for
not going
you.
to make it taste bad or anything.
No.
One of my favourite things at Christmas is, and I generally find them in Sainsbury's for some reason. I don't shop in Sainsbury's because it's not near me, but I kind of tend to make a point of going there purely because they always have festive shaped pretzels, and I can't eat them because I'm gluten free. But in the days before, when I tried a pretzel and chocolate together with the salt and the crispiness, it was like the most incredible taste. So even though I can't eat them myself, every year I make pretzel caramel bark, which is
Yeah.
loads of pretzels with like poured caramel and chocolate as gifts. But also they work really nicely as like little extra details and things, and they look quite natural. So they go with all this for my natural cake. But you can also make them, if you use candy melts that were pink, you can dip them as well. So let's just have a look. I think it is a bit thick. It is a bit thick.
It is.
Do you want me to taste
That's
it?
a pretzel.
I'll
Because
taste that one.
yeah, I think you might just
Thanks.
have to have that one, otherwise there's going to be a problem. Yeah, we'll just have to loosen that
Why
down a
don't you
little
tell them
bit.
about your universal mixer cover?
Yeah.
I will melt from coconut oil.
Okie dokie. Do you want me to just talk about it again for the people?
Yeah,
who
you
maybe
can do.
didn't?
Yeah, like so where they can buy it, the price and everything like that.
Yeah, so it's available on my website. It's here. Is that camera?
It just comes to this one.
Anyway,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, so it came about because I was sick of being covered in icing sugar, especially when I was making copious amounts of icing. And I did what Carol did and bought a shower cap and cut a hole in the middle of it and realised that didn't work at all. And we had the conversation about the fact that when you try to use a tea towel, you have to hug the tea towel or use a wet tea towel. That actually does work better than hugging it. But it's still, having like a really damp tea towel isn't ideal to have kicking around the kitchen. So yeah, I just kind of made something because I've got a sewing machine and had some elastic and I made my first little prototype and then kind of developed it along the way with a friend of mine who's a product designer, and he and his business partner sort of showed me things like, oh, you can have like rubberized stitching that will hold it all in place. So that's how I ended up with that, and yeah, I love it. I literally use it all the time, and there are times because I am, I was going to say lazy. I'm not lazy, but I am a bit disorganised. So if I have put a load in the wash and then left them on a radiator upstairs or something, I just think, oh, I need to make a small amount, and so I just put it on really slowly, and then it goes everywhere, and I think,
no.
I just could have gone upstairs and got one,
Yeah.
couldn't I? I could have just gone and got one of my things. Someone should invent something like that. Oh, I did! But I've now left it upstairs. It's so silly. So yeah, I have them on my website, and I sell them for £18 plus postage. I can't remember what postage is. It's based on sort of first class post. And I put them into a postal box so that they're exactly the right size to go through a letterbox. And yeah. So my little thing.
Well, I think it's well worth the investment.
Yeah, this is like solid now.
Right,
We don't. If this doesn't work when we dip it, it's not a huge issue.
Do you want to put that chocolate back in the microwave?
We probably will need to a little bit.
Right. Do you want to be in control of that then?
Yeah.
Go on then. I'm just melting coconut oil.
Oh right.
Press the centre.
Yeah, I'll shove it in there at the time.
100% coconut oil.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I always buy it in a jar, so it's usually half melted. Yeah, that's fine.
That's quite hot, that dish.
Yeah, it is. I think Melanie does that sometimes.
Yeah,
That's right. I'll
Put it in another dish, yeah.
Okay.
Right, keep on.
Ta-da. So, if you're
So we've just had to melt some of this advertisement for Stork.
Albeit
They never pay us any royalties or give us any freebies. You know what? There we go. You never know.
You never know. One day.
One day you might recognise
So
us.
I have melted this chocolate again, so it's a little bit dippable. But if you add a little bit of coconut oil, I didn't even know Stork did coconut oil. It's probably a lot cheaper than the stuff you buy in the health food shops as well. Just going to add a couple of teaspoons just to this little bit. It doesn't really affect the taste either. I suppose if you were allergic to coconut you wouldn't have it, but if you just, it doesn't really affect the taste enough to make it taste of coconut. It just sort of slackens it a little bit. Was it nice though? Did it taste nice?
What?
The pretzel with
It tasted gorgeous, yeah.
Something about the salty and the sweet together. So there you go, you can see it's much more sort of liquid. You can do that if you were creating a drip on a drip cake. You could use this exact same sort of technique. Give it a bit of a mix. There we go. I'm going to quickly grab my oranges. So I use the same parchment that I use for the oranges. It's just like a Teflon sheet. Is that alright?
Yeah.
Lovely. So, I won't break them this time. So all you need to do is just dip it, and I like to dip half of it. I mean, it helps anyway in the fact that it gives you something to hold on to, but I also like the look of the pretzels. So you can just then leave them on there, just set, and it is quite chilly in here, so hopefully they should just set on their own. If they don't, I can just put them in the fridge, depends on how busy you are and how much time you have. So I'll do a couple of these natural ones because I love the fact that this green and black chocolate has got like all the little flecks of vanilla in it. But if
I know
you
we've
did,
splashed out on green and black chocolate, haven't
super
we?
posh.
Yeah.
If you did want to, where did I put that pink?
It's there. It's under the
Yeah.
table.
You can put gel colour in it. I used to think that if you're going to colour chocolate that you absolutely can't put anything like a gel with it. And then I did and it was fine. So no big deal. So yeah, you can actually colour chocolate just as you can candy melts. And often with candy melts, unless I need something like a dark, like a black or a navy blue, I will always just buy the white ones and then colour them myself. So this is quite a nice little sort of naturally pink rather than a super candy fairy pink. And when you dip these, you can then add little sprinkles.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah, it's just so you've got a little bit of variation. So we'll do the natural one and then we'll do one that's all sort of pink and shiny and glittery. These are nice little things actually just to have as snacks.
I was just thinking exactly the same. I would
Christmas.
actually just eat a whole bowl of them.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I'm more than happy to help out.
But like if you like at Christmas or something, just
Yeah.
for snacks, and how quickly it is. It's literally a bag of pretzels, and the huge bag, 300 grams, I think is something
Wow.
like
I keep
Yeah,
us going
a
for a while.
pound or
something.
something, yeah.
but they look lovely. And I often, you know, all that lovely edible gold spray you can
Yeah.
get. Spray a load gold.
I've got them here if you want to spray over them.
Yeah, well I've got my little puffer with me, which will give them a light coating of gold, which is nice.
Yeah, puffers are down there if you want to puff them.
Yeah, I think these are definitely going to be my Christmas snack.
They're really easy as well, and I've seen people do them with like really thick, ready salted crisps as well, dipped into chocolate.
My mum,
Again, I saw
that
that.
is my mum's favourite treat. Ready salted crisps and a Mars bar at the same time.
And I can totally see why, because it's amazing.
She eats the crisps and then takes like a bite of Mars bar. She loves it. It's proper bizarre.
It's a wonderful thing. I would totally eat that myself if I wasn't on a crazy diet. I'll just move these little bits out of the way. Yeah, that one's starting to set already, so they should be nicely set in time. I'm going to do my last cake with a different watercolour colour. I'm going to use a little bit of green because I'm doing this natural one. I'm just going to use the same little palette, but just steer clear of the pink side. And yeah, just another blob of icing, and then again I'll probably put too much of this one in now, seeing as I didn't put hardly anything in the other one. And again I prefer to put the colour on the side, because then, if anyone wants to see which colour this, that's leaf
Green.
colour splash. Yeah, see this is way stronger, so I'll only use that tiny little bit there, and I'll just scrape it away from the colour.
You did have pale pink there.
Yeah.
Then. You should have maybe have had pink in then, you would have been
Yeah.
fine.
It was still fine. It was a lovely
Yeah.
colour, lovely shade of pink. This is what I was expecting it to do more of.
Yeah.
Be really super strong.
Yeah.
So again, I quite like to have the odd bit that's really dark. You only need little tiny flecky bits of that. But yeah, so my little palette there, artist palette. And I'll get the cake out. And so the cake that we're going to do, the last one, is the semi-naked.
So guys, just to let you know, everything that we're using tonight is in the wish list. So if you go to the top of the Sugar and Crumbs website, it does say Facebook wish list current month, and there's Imogen in there. So all the products she's using tonight is in there. If you want to take advantage of the 25% discount, then you must go to the clearance cupboard.
Marie, your hand is just on the corner. Thank you.
So you must go to the clearance cupboard and have a search in there. There is loads of goodies in the clearance cupboard. The 25% discount applies at checkout. So as soon as you go to checkout, it will then give you the 25% discount. It's not off there already. So it's only the things that are in the clearance cupboard.
So I'm doing this fairly quickly because it's the same as the other one. This one I'm definitely going to keep to the bottom. I'm not going to put any of the colour on the top. Just need to wipe that.
Looking good.
Yeah, I love that effect
Yeah.
already.
I do.
Swipe off the pink. It's the same flavour. So it won't make any
holding our breath, aren't we?
I think everyone's just mesmerised. I think it's fantastic technique. Really is clever.
So
I'm trying really hard not to scrape the metal against
Oh,
the metal.
bless you.
Puts your teeth on edge a little bit.
So Imogen has a friend here who is doing her social media for her. So I think they're going to do a little live on her page shortly.
Right. The next bit, I'm going to be arranging stuff on the top.
Yeah.
Did you want me to do it near a camera that's facing down?
It's fine.
I've
I've got
I can
this
always,
on the
like,
side. It's fine.
Can you see the top of the
I
cake?
can
from that?
if
If Maria
it's
stops kicking it out. Should I lift this up as well, just to give you?
Is this cake in the right position for? So I don't need to move anything.
Don't worry.
Right.
Don't
So
need
I
to
should
move
put this
anything.
that way around in that case. I'll just move that out of the way as well.
So this is the semi-naked cake, and we've
Yes.
done this in green colours.
Yeah, because this one's going to be kind of natural in a way that, and actually I did think, I was planning on doing the caramelised oranges, and then I saw that you had the moulds of the oranges and the cinnamon sticks, and I thought, oh, you could do it. If you wanted to do it in sugary fondant, you could totally do that as well. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do, the only thing I haven't brought is ribbon. That board, what a pleb. You have to have a ribbon, you can't see the silver, but it does need to go on a base, and I'm going to stick it on this clear base, just purely because it looks better. And also, often I put it onto a covered board, because then you can put items next to the board. So,
Just in case you want an orange off there.
yeah,
Just in
exactly.
case.
A shiny orange.
What was I going to say to you? A ribbon. I have got ribbon here. Do you want me to find some?
It's not essential, it's just normally I'd put like a ribbon around the bottom
Yeah.
just to cover up the board. I don't need to on the other one because I used a ganache plate. So what I tend to do, I'm obsessed with figs. I don't like the taste of them personally, but I really like to decorate with them. They look amazing. So figs are my go-to sort of cake decorating bit of fruit, and especially when they're like that.
Yes, they're
Which is
beautiful
perfect.
inside.
Am I on your one?
Yeah.
So what I tend to do when I'm decorating a cake, especially with all natural fruits and everything, if I'm delivering it somewhere and it's got to be ready decorated, or it's going to be moved if it's at a wedding, often people will say, well, how do you stick the stuff on so that it doesn't move around? And I just put cocktail sticks in them. So if I want a cherry artfully balanced on the side, there's a cocktail stick in there. But the way I arrange things, I'm going to do this backwards, but I'm sure it'll be fine, is I always do things sort of on the side. So this is going to be my high side, and then it's going to come round.
Yeah, that's right.
That's my little sort of moon shape I go for. So I like to have one fig on its own. And again, you can use cocktail sticks to hold these in place, but I'll be putting other bits on there as well.
Do you want some cocktail sticks?
No, they should be fine because I've got all these oranges and other sort of little sections. Real cinnamon sticks, you've got your lovely little, I'll show you this, like little sugar craft versions of cinnamon, but you're not going to bite into these, no one's going to eat them, but they are edible, so you can kind of add them. Again, it's really weird not looking at it, but I like to kind of arrange a couple like that. Oops.
I love the look, don't you?
Gorgeous.
It's just kind of natural, isn't it? And do I want one there? I might do that in a minute. I also really love using rosemary and other herbs. Give it a little bend if it's not curling the way you want it to. Again, I like them the design to sort of do that.
Yeah.
And sort of hug around the cake. This is from my garden this morning. Poke that underneath the fig a little bit. And then one of my favourite herbs to decorate with as well is this curly thyme. I never seem to find it in a garden centre, and I don't seem to manage to keep it alive, but if you buy it from the supermarket, these lovely sort of curly trailing bits, and even on a naked cake when it's mainly like fruit, like strawberries and raspberries, just a little bit of greenery always looks really lovely. So
I'll have to say it looks fantastic. So you're giving them love hearts and everything, girls.
So my little
Guys,
orange slices, so I'm going to
Forget
add...
that we have a couple of guys watching as well.
You do have guys.
Yeah, we do have guys watching. It's great.
I'm going to add a couple of, again, I'm going to have to look at this in a minute and I might tweak.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
But
no,
from,
it's looking
from sort of
fantastic.
back to front, I feel like it's probably all right.
It's looking absolutely
So I
fantastic.
put that orange there. It's quite, let me see if I can demonstrate that. They're kind of, they're sort of, they're not rock hard, they're not going to completely break your teeth, but they've got some structure to them. Like that. I might put a couple of those little ones. I've also got star anise, and again, these look absolutely beautiful, but you don't want to eat them.
No. I ate one once by mistake.
I love the smell and I love the flavour, but
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to eat one. I don't think they'd be very good. They're very medicinal, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'm just going to look at it from the front.
From them. We'll let you.
Yeah, okay, that's good. I
Good.
feel like
That's looking
just
good.
need a little bit more green.
They're all absolutely loving it.
Oh, great. Right, so I'll pop a little bit more green in there. It's more, I just kind of sort of look at it until it's sort of looks right. And when it's right, you have to then stop. Because you could just go on putting bits on constantly.
Yeah, I didn't know when to stop on Thursday. Did you manage to get that cake home, Laura?
Yes.
Weighed a ton,
That was,
didn't it?
that was a huge cake, wasn't
It was
it?
a
There's a
huge
lot of
cake,
detail
yeah.
on there.
I was very impressed at parents, I tell you.
Have you cut into it?
No.
You're saving it for Christmas?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Saved me a job, girl. Got enough to do.
A couple of little sort of golden bits. And again, I tend to just sort of it looks like they're all scattered, but I really carefully arranged
Tell
them.
them how you coloured them.
Yeah, so these ones, these are called golden rods, and I'll put some there for you to see. They're really hard to come by, although Carol has got some amazing silver shiny ones here, which are by, what is it, Scrumptious?
Scrumptious.
Yeah. They're lovely, but they only come in silver apparently.
Yeah.
And I bought some in gold, but the colour of the gold was kind of a yellowy gold, a bit like this.
Oh,
Is that, sorry, which bit am I?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, so more of a yellowy gold, and what I wanted was gold, like that. And I tried adding just luster dust to it, which was fine. And then a lady from Blossom, I think weirdly it's like a mixture of both our business names. I think she's called Blossom and Crumb, and I'm Sugar and whatever. And she actually did a little tutorial, the fact that she didn't like the yellow ones and wanted gold, and she put Rejuvenator in hers. I didn't have Rejuvenator because I always used to use rum. And
Yeah.
I know everyone else uses vodka, but I don't like vodka. So I have rum in the house. So I put a tiny little bit of rum into this little bag, gave it a good shake, and then put the luster in and shook it again. And it's amazing. They're like the perfect, beautiful colour gold. It does tend to colour my hands ever so slightly. I won't bother putting any more on there because we'll do a bit more of that on the silvery one. And then just some of the sprinkly gold balls because they're lovely. Some tiny ones there. And then my last thing I always do, especially with figs, is use these gold puffers. So when we had the glitter gate, where edible glitter wasn't edible, these are definitely 100% edible. And I really like to just put them, especially on the figs. Just
Yeah,
a
they
little
look
bit.
good, don't
I don't
they?
tend to put tons on, and you can put it over the cinnamon sticks as well, and that's just really nice. There we go. So
Super.
that one, unless I decide to faff with it.
Can we just keep
kind
it there for a second
Yep.
while I just get a really good close up if I can?
It looks absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning.
I
Well
can't
done.
really see it, it's kind of
I feel-
weird looking at it
so
from
I
back to
should
front.
give you a round of applause. What do we think? Absolutely stunning it is.
Oh, thank you. Also, occasionally what you could do as well is you could add cinnamon sticks to this bit, maybe an orange slice. That might be a bit overkill, I can't really tell because I'm doing it back to front.
I don't know, I think that looks quite good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
I like that idea.
I can't believe I'm literally doing this upside down and back to front.
You're doing well.
It's good. Yeah, no, I like that idea.
I'd probably need to maybe stick that on
Yeah.
there a bit, but
Yeah.
let's see if it stays long enough to take a photo. And you could have like a little star anise as well.
Which one am I having? The
I
pink
can't
one or
really
the
see what I'm
green one?
I'm going to put that there.
So pretty.
There we go. Maybe I'll tweak it straight after and then we can take a photo. But I think,
It looks
does that
fantastic.
look alright?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Looks
okay.
fantastic.
Yeah, just
Well
gives you
done.
a little
Get those
natural
little hearts
version.
going, guys. What do you think? How beautiful is that? Absolutely stunning. And knowing that, she's now going to decorate another one.
And this is the bit where I could then move it and they all fall off and I set them on properly. There we go.
So Sarah Campbell, the balls around the front of the figs are actually like cake pot truffles that Imogen made before. So if you've missed any of the Facebook Live, you can catch up. Everything will be pinned to the top of the Facebook page when we're finished. And it will also be transferred over to YouTube as well later in the week. So if you have missed any of it at all, you can catch up on the whole session as soon as we're finished.
Right, get the last one out of the fridge. This one, I love how quick your fridge sets things as well. I was able to literally pick that up. Yeah, this one's going to be all sort of pink and pretty and candy type things.
I've got a gorgeous blush for that one.
Oh, have you?
Glitter blush.
Ah.
Just get it out for you.
I was going to, obviously I didn't need to show you how to make meringues. I know that you had an amazing video. Was it your daughter that did meringue? Meringues,
I've done meringue cases as well.
Yeah, so I made these the other day in one of my classes that I was teaching. We did a day of meringues and macarons. So I'm just going to sort of space these out, starting with my biggest meringues, and then a couple of little ones. Ooh, lovely, yeah, nice.
You can take your pick.
Wowzers, yeah, you've got loads.
Yeah.
It's an absolute miracle I haven't broken all the little tops of these. These are my favourite ones with the tiny little curly tops, and
That's
every single time I
fantastic.
go anywhere near one I just have to look at it and it breaks off. That's why I put them in these cupcake containers to bring here. And again, you could stick these on with a bit of the melted chocolate as well.
Looks fantastic. I love them.
These have set enough to be picked up.
I'm going to have the pink one. I don't know why I'm saying I. I'm going to have to share it with you, like, aren't I? I've got no one else to eat it with. I'll have to share it with everyone tomorrow.
We could also add some of these little pink ball things. Put a couple slightly higher. Kind of feel like we still need a bit of height there, so that's quite useful to have that bit there. I've also got my sort of little sprinkly bits that I put on the cake pops earlier. Well, no, the pretzels. And then finally, yeah, you've got some, as well as these lovely silver rods, which look perfect on here. There's also tiny hearts, which are amazing. They're so shiny, I can't believe it.
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah.
And the squares as well.
Yeah.
The squares are there.
I love these squares.
Yeah, they're great,
They're
aren't
really
they?
awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, these can be kind of scattered on in amongst. And you could do this as like a drip cake, so you could add drips going down one side, and you can colour the drips in the same way that.
Well, everybody's absolutely loving it.
Oh,
Looks
yay.
fantastic.
Oh, I'm really pleased.
Yeah, no, looks fantastic. Might have a go at doing that, smoothing it myself.
Yeah, once you've done it a few times, you just kind of get used to it. You get used
I
to
was
the
looking
feeling
how
of it.
soft your buttercream was. I think maybe my buttercream's a bit too
To
firm.
be honest, I still not got the hang of using your special nozzles, and I think it's because I never get the texture of
consistency,
it.
yeah.
I've done it so many times. I just feel like I should be able to do this. Why is it so tricky? I feel like there must have been something else pink that I brought with me to stick on, but maybe that was it. This one's more of a kind of a collection of things. It hasn't got any trailer bits. Just trying to glitter blush.
Glitter blush, I know.
That might
Doesn't
actually
it?
tone these down a little bit as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's nice.
it looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then I will sometimes, on one side, this doesn't always work, especially as these just come out of the sticking on. Nah. Sometimes you can stick them onto the side. Which was that, an orange slice?
No.
Oh, the pretzel.
Don't tell me you want that pretzel now. Just have it.
Oh no, I just needed one more pretzel. What am I going to do? This design
No,
is
don't tell us that.
ruined.
We just ate it. Laura and I both just scoffed them. We thought, oh great, she didn't want them. I'm on to your orange slices next.
Yeah.
You best get a move on.
That looks lovely going up the cake.
Yeah,
like that.
I like
Yeah, and
that.
again, what I tend to do, if I can get this when it's at the right sort of stickiness,
It just looks like proper
I
balloon,
sometimes
doesn't
do
it?
fling them at the
Yeah,
end. Or I put them in my hand and then kind of press them.
Push them on, yeah.
But this
Yeah.
is set really nicely
Set
in the
now,
fridge,
isn't
so it's
it?
not working. But I like, again, the same sort of design sort of thing, as I kind of like to have a little in one place.
Yeah.
So instead of having them all over, you could do them around the base and have them sort of going up.
Yeah, no, I like that.
But I just like, yeah, just a few working their way up along the top.
No, I like that.
Really
Fantastic.
heart.
How good is this? So this is Imogen from Sugar Buttons Creative. If you want to go to her website, if you want to buy the mixer cover, the universal mixer cover, you go direct to her website, you buy it off there. So it's sugarcrumbscreative.co.uk. Go to shop, and also Imogen does lessons as well. So definitely go and have a look at those. If you want to follow her on Facebook, and it would be really nice if you guys just popped over, give her a like, let her know what you think of tonight's live feed. She'll definitely love the support. Pop over to Sugar Buttons Cakes.
Yeah.
And I don't know her Instagram and Twitter and everything else.
Sugar buns cakes, they're actually
I
so
don't, all the same, which is brilliant. So if you're on Instagram or Twitter, it's Sugar Buttons Cakes. I want to say a massive thank you for all of you joining us tonight. Voila. What does that look
Can I
like?
just lift
Is
that
that brilliant? Is that
If you're going to
brilliant?
make it sparkly and
Go
pink
on,
and
yeah.
pretty, you
Go on,
might
you
as
can
well
do a video if you want to.
There we go.
She's here on Monday, she won't notice.
Yeah. There we go. Ta-da.
Wow, what do we think of that? That's absolutely stunning. Let's get both cakes together.
Yeah.
What do we think?
Oh, really?
So let's get both cakes together. She said that she was going to escape after this. She was going to just pack and run because she got a 6-hour drive. Have you seen the state of this kitchen? I don't think so. They're not going to be that good. Thankfully, we've got electronic gates and they don't know the code. Should we?
Shunt that along a bit? That'll probably go, won't it?
Oh, I don't know. Do you want to do it?
See, it shifts around when I don't want it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That'll just...
There we go. How fantastic is that?
Yeah, so considering it's the same cake, the same buttercream,
Just looks
just
different.
two completely different options.
Yeah. Oh, they smell
It smells like
gorgeous.
Christmas,
They do
doesn't it?
smell gorgeous, yeah. So guys, anything that you want is on the wish list, and also do take advantage of our warehouse sale, okay? So we are having a whole new refit inside our warehouse. We can't afford to move to a bigger warehouse, so we're actually bringing in another floor, 4 aisles on the bottom, 4 aisles on the top. That's going to be our shop area. We've got so much work to do. We've got pods outside in the car park. We're not going to get everything in there. So if you go to our clearance cupboard on our website, there is a 25% discount. It is applied at checkout. It's only for goods in the clearance box, okay? So do make sure you pop over there and look at that. If you are going over to Imogen's Facebook page, I've already said it to you once, please go over it and up her likes. Let her know that you've enjoyed tonight's live. I know so many of you are so good when we have a guest in. You always message them and tell them how well you enjoyed the live, and it's great.
Yeah, no,
Isn't it? It's great. It's
yeah.
always a lovely feeling, you know, that they're made to feel welcome here as well. And they do go to a lot of hard work for you guys. I mean, Imogen's done a 6-hour trip from Norfolk today, and she's now going to do a 6-hour trip back home. And she's been here since 4 o'clock this afternoon, so it's a hell of a day. It's a good job she's got a friend in the car. And she's still going to have to clean up the kitchen as well. So there's no Facebook Live on Thursday, but there is some impromptu lives. I don't know when. I'll just give you 5 minutes notice, as we usually do. Just give you updates on how the warehouse is going. But we will be here on Monday night. Video will be here. She is going to be using the Dinky Doodle airbrush. She's going to make some Christmas sugar cookies. She's going to do loads of things. She just sent me a massive email of all the things she's going to do, so I'll get Maria to post about them. So do make sure that you're here at 8 o'clock on Monday. And if you, by the way, if any of you want to buy gift vouchers for Christmas, or get your family to buy gift vouchers. And if you want to book any sessions, I am doing classes in January, and I'm doing a baking class in January, which is going to be great fun. So do book on those classes for me. It's super. And if you don't want to pay the full amount, all you need to do is ring Laura and you can pay in instalments. We'll take money off you any way we can. That's good, isn't
I
it?
suddenly thought of one thing I needed to say.
Go on.
I put a little competition on my Facebook page which said, if you watch this live, at some point I will give you a key word or a phrase to put down on the list, and then you can win a Mixer Garden oven glove and like some icing sugar. Totally forgot to do it. So the key word is Festive Badger.
Wonderful.
Especially for my friend Nat. So basically, yeah, if someone puts that down there, I will choose a winner. I'm probably going to choose it tomorrow because I don't think I'm going to be able to do it now. So if I see lots of Festive Badgers, then I'll know why.
You've got to nip over, like her page, and start pressing Festive Badger all over her page, and then she's going to pick a winner.
Yeah, and you've got to do it on my Facebook page.
Not on my page.
Don't do it on the Sugar Crumbs page.
You don't want any Festive Badgers over here. We've got enough with Santa's snowballs. So a big thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Laura and Maria. Thank you. It's Natalie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Natalie. See you all Monday, guys, or maybe sooner in the warehouse. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Imogen.